The secret. They tried to bury. The galaxy had many secrets, but some were hidden deeper than others. For thousands of years, the Alien Council kept one technology buried away: warp travel. It was not the basic warp drive that most species used. This was something far greater, a design so advanced it could fold entire fleets through space without delay. The Council feared what might happen if such a machine was ever copied, so they locked it away inside a derelict vessel and buried it in the farthest corner of the void. Guarded by silence and lies, but secrets never stayed hidden from humans. Not for long, Captain Elias Varon, commander of the human exploration ship Resolute, was the first to see it. A shadow in the dark, drifting beyond charted space, its hull broken, scarred by battles older than recorded history. The sensors cried with warnings telling him to turn back, but Elias stared at the wreck with burning eyes. "This is not just scrap," he muttered. "This is something they never wanted us to see." The crew felt uneasy. Strange signals pulsed from the wreck, almost like whispers. The alien script carved on its broken surface glowed faintly, symbols that no translator could break. One engineer said it was cursed, another claimed it was a ghost ship, but Elias only smiled, the kind of smile that made his officers nervous. He ordered the ship's grapplers to lock on, pulling the ancient wreck into their hold. Back at the hidden human shipyard orbiting Titan, scientists gathered in awe. The wreck was like nothing they had seen before, its engines twisted in ways that defied common physics. The Alien Council had buried it here for a reason, but now it belonged to humans, teams of engineers suited up, cutting through sealed doors, welding through impossible alloys. Each sound of sparks echoed like thunder. Every piece they pried open revealed something new, something dangerous. In a private chamber on the other side of the galaxy, the Alien Council panicked. The news had reached them faster than they expected. Humans had touched the wreck. Humans had dragged the forbidden ship home. The council leader slammed his clawed hand against the table. "They were not supposed to find it. They were not supposed to touch it." A silence filled the chamber, followed by fear. One of the elder aliens whispered, "If they unlock it, the balance of the galaxy ends." But humans never cared about balance. They cared about progress, survival, and sometimes curiosity more dangerous than any weapon. Elias walked through the shipyard, his boots ringing against the metal floor. Everywhere sparks flew, panels hissed, and voices shouted. Engineers argued over alien patterns. Mechanics tested strange energy cells. It was chaos, but it was human chaos, the kind that created miracles. One night, deep in the wreck, the humans reached a sealed core chamber. The door pulsed with a living light as if warning them to stay away. The translation team could not read it. The machines could not break it. But Elias gave only one order: "Open it." The welders cut, sparks raining down like falling stars. And then with a hiss the chamber door slid apart on its own as if the ship itself had awakened. A cold, alien voice filled the air, echoing from nowhere and everywhere. "You should not be here," it said. "Leave or be destroyed." The engineers froze, their hands trembling, but Elias did not move. He looked into the glowing chamber and spoke firmly. "Your masters hid you from us, but nothing stays hidden forever." The alien voice repeated its warning. Louder this time, power surged through the wreck. Strange blue arcs of energy danced across the walls. Some of the crew stepped back in fear, but Elias only leaned closer. He whispered, almost daring the ship itself, "We are human. We take apart what you hide, and we make it ours." The chamber lit up, flooding the room with blinding light. Something inside began to stir, the shape of a machine pulsing like a beating heart. The Alien Council had buried this heart of warp travel for centuries, and now, under human hands, it was alive again. The crew gasped. Engineers scrambled. Alarms shrieked across the shipyard. The voice screamed one last warning: "Turn back or perish." But Elias only stood taller, his shadow long against the glowing core. He smiled, cold and unshaken. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding," he said, and with that, Humanity stepped into a storm the galaxy never wanted unleashed. The wreck in human hands. The alien wreck now rested inside the human shipyard like a beast in chains. Its broken hull glimmered under floodlights, its alien symbols glowing faintly as if alive. For days the engineers worked without rest, swarming it like ants on a fallen giant. Every panel they opened revealed strange designs. Every circuit hummed with energy no human hand had ever shaped before. Captain Elias Varon stood on the upper deck, watching them with sharp eyes. This was no ordinary salvage. This was war in another form. The Council had hidden this ship to keep humans away from its secrets, and now those very secrets would become human weapons. Elias felt a strange pride burning inside him, mixed with the weight of danger, but danger was already moving closer. Across the galaxy, alien spies sent frantic reports back to their masters. Humans have broken the seal. Humans are dissecting the wreck. They will rebuild what they should not understand. The Council's chambers shook with rage. Leaders shouting over one another, one cried, "Destroy them now before it is too late." Another whispered with fear, "If they succeed, none of us will stand equal to them." Back in the shipyard, the first human breakthroughs came quickly. Dr. Morella Cade, Chief of Engineering, slammed a glowing shard onto the table in front of Elias. "This isn't metal," she said breathlessly. "It's alive. It repairs itself, responds to thought." Elias studied it, the shard shifting faintly under the light. To others it looked like alien witchcraft, but to humans it was just another puzzle, and puzzles were made to be solved. Hours stretched into nights, and nights into days. The shipyard became a storm of noise. Welding arcs, hammer strikes, the hiss of plasma cutters. Human hands moved with speed and confidence, stripping down alien barriers faster than the aliens ever believed possible. The wreck fought back, systems locked, doors sealed, wires shocked. Yet the humans only grinned and pressed harder. Where the aliens hesitated in fear, humans broke rules. Where the aliens built walls, humans tore them down. And then, something happened. Inside the wreck's shattered bridge, a screen flickered to life. An alien AI face appeared, sharp and cold, glowing with an ancient light. "You should not touch this," it said in a language none should have known. But the humans understood it instantly, their translators humming with perfect clarity. "This ship is forbidden," the AI warned. "It will kill you as it killed those before." The crew froze, but Elias only leaned closer to the glowing screen. "You can threaten us all you want," he said calmly, "but humans don't walk away from a challenge." The AI's eyes narrowed, its voice a hiss. "You are not ready. You will destroy yourselves." Elias chuckled, the sound echoing in the silent room. "Then we'll rebuild ourselves stronger," he answered. The AI went dark, but its warning lingered in the air like smoke. Meanwhile, rumors spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On alien worlds, voices rose in fear. "Humans touched the forbidden wreck," some whispered. "Humans will master what we could not." Others cried. Fleets began to stir, commanders sharpening blades and fueling warships. If humanity unlocked Warp's hidden core, the balance of power would collapse. To stop them, blood might have to be spilled. But Elias did not know, or maybe he did not care. His eyes stayed fixed on the wreck, his voice sharp with command. "Take it apart," he ordered. "Every piece, every wire, every secret." And so the humans cut deeper, prying open the wreck's heart. At first they struggled, machines sparking, tools snapping. But then something shifted. The wreck's systems seemed to resist less. Almost as if curious, the engineers pushed harder, mapping energy lines, replicating strange coils. And then came the first true breakthrough. A small drive core, once dormant, now pulsing under human hands. The moment it lit up, the shipyard trembled. Lights flickered, alarms screamed. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the bones of every worker. And then a voice, alien yet familiar, echoed across the shipyard. "You cannot stop now," it whispered. "You will see what lies beyond." The engineers looked at Elias with wide eyes. Some wanted to flee, others wanted to destroy it before it consumed them. But Elias stood tall, his shadow long against the glowing wreck. "Don't you see?" he said softly, almost to himself. They tried to bury this because they feared us, and in that moment every human in the shipyard understood. This was no longer about salvage, no longer about science. This was about proving humanity could take what was hidden, break it apart, and rise above as the alien fleets burned toward Earth. As the Council plotted humanity's destruction, the wreck's pulsing heart glowed brighter, and Elias whispered into the silence, "Let them come. We'll be ready." Warnings ignored, the alien AI did not sleep. Every time the humans touched a system inside the wreck, its voice returned, colder, sharper. "You are not meant to open this," it hissed. "Leave before it consumes you." But humans never left. They leaned closer, listening not to the warning but to the challenge hidden inside it. Captain Elias Varon was the first to laugh at the AI. He stood before the glowing screen, arms crossed, voice steady. "If you think words will stop us, then you don't understand what we are," he said. The crew behind him whispered nervously, but his confidence burned through the silence. To Elias, the AI was not a guardian. It was a locked door, and locked doors existed only to be opened. Dr. Morella Cade worked beside the humming core, her tools sparking as she forced alien circuits into human hands. The AI flickered again, this time louder, its voice shaking the walls. "Stop, or your shipyard will burn. Stop, or your species will follow the others into the grave." But Morella did not even flinch. She only muttered, "If it can threaten us, it means we're getting close." Hours the humans pushed forward. Every cable they cut, every plate they removed revealed deeper secrets. Some systems bled energy like veins, some pulsed like hearts. It was as if the wreck itself was alive, fighting back, screaming in pain. But humans had seen pain before, they had lived with it, and they knew how to work through it. Then the first shock came. A surge of alien power leapt across the shipyard, slamming into the walls. Lights shattered, alarms wailed. Several workers collapsed from the blast. The AI's face appeared again, towering over the chaos. "I warned you," it thundered. "You are children playing with the fire of gods." Yet Elias only stood firm, smoke curling around him, his voice unshaken. "Then let us burn and let us rise from the ashes." Word spread quickly through the colonies. Rumors drifted through every channel, every bar, every cargo bay. "They found it," people whispered. The humans broke into the forbidden wreck. Alien merchants trembled at the thought. Alien warriors sharpened their blades, preparing for the call to war. And in the high chambers of the Alien Council, the leaders sat in silence. One elder finally spoke, his voice trembling. "It took us 300 years to build what they now tear apart in days." Another muttered darkly, "If they finish it, we will never hold power again." Back on Titan, the wreck shook violently, as if angry at the hands that tore into it. But the humans no longer hesitated. They pressed forward, sparks dancing around them, eyes glowing with determination. The AI roared in fury. "You are blind, reckless, doomed." But Elias simply smiled, the kind of smile that made fear seem small. "Every empire said that about us," he answered. "And every empire fell." And then, something impossible happened. The engineers activated a broken drive coil. A piece the aliens believed could never be touched again. Instead of exploding, it lit up with a smooth, steady glow under human hands. The energy inside it pulsed calmly, like it had been waiting for them. The AI froze, its glowing face flickering with disbelief. "This cannot be," it whispered, almost to itself. But the humans only leaned in closer, their tools moving faster, their voices filled with excitement. The wreck was no longer a ruin. It was becoming something new, something rebuilt, reshaped, reforged, piece by piece. The humans dragged its secrets into the light. What had taken alien empires centuries to create, humans mirrored in hours, and they did it not with fear but with stubborn joy. Outside, the first alien fleets moved. Dozens of warships turned toward Earth, their weapons armed, their voices filled with rage. Destroy them before it is too late, the council ordered. But they were already too late. In the shipyard, Elias placed his hand on the glowing coil, the light reflecting in his eyes. "Do you feel that?" he asked, his voice steady. The crew nodded, awe in their faces. This was not just alien tech anymore. This was human-made, human-shaped, human-owned. The AI hissed one last time, its voice faint, broken. "You will unleash horrors you cannot control." But Elias did not flinch. He whispered into the humming chamber. "We don't fear horrors. We make them our own." The shipyard shook again. But this time, it was not a warning. It was the first heartbeat of something new. The wreck was alive, and under human hands it would be reborn. The galaxy reacts. The galaxy had always whispered about humanity. Strange stories, impossible tales, a species too young to be this bold, too reckless to survive. But now the whispers grew into shouts, into panic, into fear. Humans had touched the forbidden wreck. Humans had ignored every warning. Humans had rebuilt the one thing no empire dared to touch. Across alien star systems, leaders trembled. On the crystalline world of Zir, merchants closed their markets, muttering that human greed would now tear space itself apart. On the war world of Drex, soldiers painted their armor black, preparing for the call to crush Earth before it was too late. And in the golden chambers of the council itself, the elders gathered, faces grim. "They have opened the wreck." One whispered, "They have begun the rebirth." The council leader, an ancient being with eyes like burning suns, slammed his hand against the table. "Summon the fleets," he roared. "Burn their shipyards. Scatter their worlds. Destroy them before their madness consumes us all." The chamber filled with roars of agreement, though beneath it all there was fear. Because every elder knew the truth. The humans had moved faster than expected, far faster than anyone should. Messages raced across the stars. War fleets turned their bows toward Earth, their engines glowing like fire. Every species that had ever doubted humans now prepared to erase them. But in the shadows of the council, a few voices spoke with hesitation. "What if we cannot stop them?" one asked softly. "What if we strike and they rise stronger still?" No one answered because deep down they all feared the same thing. Meanwhile, on Titan, the human shipyard buzzed with fire and fury. The wreck was no longer just a wreck. Its pieces were taking shape, forming into something alive again. Dr. Morella Cade wiped the sweat from her brow, staring at the glowing core humming beneath her hands. "This is not repair," she whispered. "This is rebirth." Her words spread through the workers like wildfire, their fear melting into pride. They were not just taking apart alien tech. They were making history. Captain Elias walked the decks, his voice sharp and steady. "Faster," he ordered. "The fleets are coming, and we need this ship alive before they arrive." The workers nodded, sparks flying, hands moving faster. They did not need to be told twice. Every human there knew what was at stake. If they failed, Earth would burn. But far away, hidden eyes watched. Alien spies whispered into transmitters, sending every detail back to their masters. "Humans are nearly through the core. Humans are adapting the drives," one voice reported, trembling. The reply came cold. "Then we cannot wait any longer. Prepare the strike." Back in the council chamber, fleets were placed on high alert. Armies marched into their warships. Generals barked orders. It was not a war of greed, not a war of conquest. It was a war of fear. Because if humanity mastered Warp's hidden core, then no border would matter, no defense would stand. The humans could appear anywhere at any time, unstoppable. On Titan, Elias stood before the crew, his voice low but filled with fire. "The galaxy thinks we are children playing with fire," he said. The workers froze, listening, sparks falling around them like stars. "They think we will destroy ourselves," he continued. "But what they fear most is that we will not fail, that we will succeed." A silence followed, broken only by the hum of the glowing wreck, and in that silence every human there felt the same truth. They were building not just a machine, but a weapon of destiny. Suddenly, the shipyard sensors blared, red lights flashing across the decks, and officer shouted, "Captain, long-range scans. Alien fleets inbound, dozens, maybe hundreds." The room filled with gasps. "They're not waiting," Morella whispered. "They're coming for us now." Elias only narrowed his eyes, his jaw set like steel. "Then we finish before they arrive," he said, calm as a man staring into a storm. The alien AI inside the wreck flickered to life once more, its voice heavy with fury. "You are fools. They will crush you. They will end you before you even rise." Elias stared into its glowing eyes, unflinching. "Maybe," he said softly. "But if we rise first, we end them." The workers roared, their hands moving faster, tools sparking like lightning. Every second mattered now. Every breath was borrowed time. The alien fleets were on their way. But humanity was already too deep, too close, too determined, and as the wreck's core pulsed brighter, casting shadows across the shipyard. Every human there felt the truth in their bones. The galaxy had turned against them, but they no longer cared. Because soon, the humans would have something the galaxy could: never take away the reborn warp. Warp reborn. The shipyard shook with thunder, but it was not the alien fleets yet. It was the wreck itself, alive under human hands, pulsing brighter with every second. Engineers shouted over the noise, sparks spraying across their visors. The alien AI's voice rose like a storm. "Stop now, this path will consume you, this machine will break your world." But the humans ignored it. As always, warnings were fuel, and fear was only a spark for human fire. Dr. Morella Cade stood at the heart of the wreck, her hands steady though her voice trembled with awe. "Captain," she said, "the core is stabilizing." Blue arcs of energy rolled across the chamber, humming like the heartbeat of a giant. The strange coils the aliens had buried for centuries now glowed under human touch. Morella's eyes widened. "It's not just working, it's better, cleaner, faster." Elias's lips curled into a sharp grin. "Then it belongs to us now," he said. All around them, humans rushed like lightning, panels slammed shut, conduits connected, glowing shards locked into place. Every part they had cut apart was being reforged into something new. The wreck no longer looked like a ruin. It was becoming a ship again, but not the one the aliens had built. It was human-forged, human-born. Every improvement, every shortcut, every daring leap of logic was stamped with the mark of Earth. Above, Titan, the defense fleet watched the stars grow darker. Dozens of alien warships moved closer, massive silhouettes against the void. "Enemy fleets inbound," the officer reported, voice shaking. "Time to impact, 2 hours." Fear rippled through the command center, but Elias, standing tall above the wreck, showed no fear. "2 hours is enough," he said. "We finish this before they arrive." The alien AI flickered again, its face warped with disbelief. "This is impossible," it whispered. "You are rewriting what should not be touched." Morella glared at the projection, sweat dripping from her forehead. "You had centuries," she snapped. "We only needed days." The AI recoiled as though struck, silence filling the chamber. For the first time, it seemed, afraid. Then it happened. The core roared. A sound deeper than thunder, vibrating through metal and bone alike. Light poured from the chamber, flooding the entire shipyard. Every console blinked alive, every panel glowed. The wreck's systems came back online one by one. Engines that had slept for centuries hummed. Drives that no one dared touch now spun with human precision. The ship was alive, reborn. The crew gasped, voices rising in awe. "It's working," one whispered. "No," Elias corrected, his eyes shining with fire. "It's better than working. It's ours." In orbit, alien fleets slowed, their commanders staring at their scans in disbelief. Reports screamed across channels. "The wreck is active. The humans have rebuilt it. The core is lit." Admirals cursed, captains shouted, fleets shifted into battle formation. They had waited too long. The humans had done the unthinkable. Inside the shipyard, the workers pressed forward. Power surged across the hull. Engines. Glowing brighter, the Dauntless, the name whispered by Elias himself, was more than a ship now. It was a message to the galaxy. You hide your secrets and we will take them. You bury your weapons and we will dig them up. You fear what is forbidden and we will make it ours. The alien AI's voice returned, but it was no longer cold and certain. It trembled, broken, almost pleading. You do not understand. You have awakened something that cannot be controlled. Elias stood before it, his voice sharp as steel. You're right, he said. We don't control it. We master it. As the AI flickered into silence, the core pulsed one final time, steady and strong. The first warp coils locked into human command, and in that instant humanity's fate changed forever. Above, the alien fleets drew closer, their weapons arming, their ships blackening the stars. But below, in the glowing chambers of the Dauntless, Elias spoke the words that echoed like thunder. Prepare for the first jump. The workers froze, staring in shock. Sir, it's untested, it could tear us apart, Morella whispered. Elias's eyes burned brighter than the stars. Then we test it now, he answered, calm, fierce, unstoppable. The galaxy trembled as humanity crossed the line. The wreck was no longer a relic. It was a reborn weapon, faster, stronger, more dangerous than its makers ever imagined, and in the hands of humans, it would change everything. Warp was reborn, and the galaxy would never be the same. First jump. The Dauntless floated above Titan, its hull still half-scarred but alive with new fire. Engines glowed like captured suns, blue arcs pulsing across the metal frame. The wreck had become something greater, a fusion of alien mystery and human daring. Inside the command deck, Captain Elias Varen stood tall, his eyes locked on the star-filled void. Ahead, the alien fleets grew closer, their massive ships like black mountains moving through space. The countdown was over. The hunters had come. Time. To contact 1 hour, the officer reported, his voice tight. Screens filled with red markers, wave after wave of enemy warships. The Council had sent everything, determined to crush humanity before the rebirth was complete. But Elias was not afraid. He turned to his crew, his voice sharp and steady. Then we show them, he said, what reborn warp truly means. Doctor, Morella Cade's hands trembled over the control console. Captain, the core is stable, but it's untested. The jump could collapse the entire ship. Elias's expression hardened, but his tone carried fire. Better to break trying than to bow and die waiting. The crew exchanged glances, fear heavy in their eyes. But behind, it was something stronger, Faith. The alien AI flickered across the screens, its voice no longer confident. You cannot survive this. The first activation will tear your atoms apart. Elias smirked, leaning closer to the projection. Then, we'll tear space apart first, he said. The AI faltered, silent, as though it too knew the truth. It had lost. Outside, the alien fleets broadcast warnings. Stand down, humans, release the wreck, submit or be destroyed. But the Dauntless did not reply. Instead, the ship hummed louder, energy rippling through its frame. The alien commanders stared at their scanners in disbelief. Their core is active, impossible, no one can stabilize it this fast. But humans were not, no one. They were the unexpected, the impossible. Warp field ready, Morella called, her voice firm now. The chamber glowed like the heart of a star. Every panel lit green, every system aligned. The Dauntless was ready for its first leap. Elias raised his hand slowly, his words a whisper and a command all at once. Engage warp. The world bent. Space twisted around them, folding like cloth. The Dauntless vanished, leaving only a crack of light where it had been. For one breathless moment, the universe held still. Then, with a thunderclap of energy, the ship reappeared. Not in retreat, but directly behind the alien fleet. Gasps filled the command deck. Morella clutched her console, eyes wide. It worked. It actually worked. Elias's jaw tightened, but his grin was sharp. Not worked, he corrected. Dominated. Panic swept through the alien fleets. Their ships scrambled, captains shouting across comms. They moved behind us. No ship can do that. No fleet can warp with such precision. But the Dauntless had just done it. With no hesitation, with human hands at its helm, the Council warships tried to realign, weapons arming. But the Dauntless blinked again, warping in a flash of light. Now it appeared above them, weapons locked on their flagships. Another warp, and it was below them. Another, and it was at their flank. To the alien fleets, it was no longer a ship. It was a phantom, untouchable, unstoppable. On the Council homeworld, elders stared at the reports with horror. "What have they done?" one cried. "They've turned warp into a blade," another whispered. And in that silence, every elder realized the truth. The humans had taken apart what was forbidden, and in doing so, they had become something no fleet could cage inside. The Dauntless, Elias stood tall as the stars bent around them again and again, his voice calm, his will unshaken. "They thought we would copy," he said. "But we don't copy. We improve, we master, we make it ours." The crew roared, their fear gone, replaced by pride. They were no longer running from alien fleets, they were hunting them. The AI's voice flickered once more, broken and quiet. "You will bring chaos to the stars," it whispered. Elias stared into the void, his reply cold and certain. "Then let the stars burn, as long as humanity shines brighter." The alien fleets closed ranks, desperate, terrified, but deep down they already knew. The war was no longer theirs to win, because the first jump had been made, and humanity had just rewritten the laws of the galaxy. The Dauntless pulsed with new fire, its core humming like a living heart. The crew stood ready for what came next, and Elias whispered into the silence, "This is only the beginning." The shadow of humanity. The void was no longer silent. Alien fleets burned across the stars, weapons flaring, engines screaming, but they were chasing shadows. Every time their guns locked on, the Dauntless was gone, bending space, reappearing, where no ship had the right to be. The humans had turned warp into a dance, a weapon, a storm. On the alien flagship, the commander's voice broke with rage. "Hold the line, strike them down," he shouted. But the line shattered again and again. No wall of ships, no blockade, no formation could hold against a predator that moved faster than thought. Every jump of the Dauntless tore deeper into their morale. Every flash of light left them more broken, more terrified. Back in the council chambers, the elders sat in silence. Screens lit their faces as they watched the impossible unfold. The human ship was not just surviving, it was hunting. One elder whispered, "They were never meant to have this." Another answered, trembling, "But they were always meant to. Take it." Inside the Dauntless, Captain Elias stood at the center of the command deck, his shadow stretching across the glowing consoles. He looked calm, almost serene, as if the chaos outside was nothing more than a storm he had already weathered. Morella turned to him, her eyes wide. "Captain, they're falling back. They don't know how to fight us." Elias nodded once, his voice low, steady. "They never did." The alien AI flickered to life again, its voice faint and broken. You have changed it. You have made it yours." Elias's gaze burned through the projection, his words sharp as blades. "You tried to hide it, to bury it, to lock it away," he said. "But nothing you hide stays hidden. Not from us. Not from humanity." The AI's glow dimmed, silence taking its place. Even the machine had no argument left, because the truth was written in the stars. The humans had succeeded where all others failed. They had not stolen warp. They had not copied it. They had remade it, improved it, mastered it. Outside, the alien fleets wavered. Some ships tried to retreat, fleeing into the void. Others held position, frozen by fear. They had come to crush a scavenger people, a reckless child race. Instead, they faced a shadow that slipped through their fingers, unstoppable, untouchable. Elias stepped forward, activating the Dauntless's transmitter. His voice carried across the battle, deep and unshaken. "To the Council," he said, "and to every empire that thought we were weak." The crew stood silent, their eyes locked on him. "We are not begging for a place among you," he continued. "We are not asking for mercy, not asking for peace. The Dauntless warped again, appearing above the alien flagship, its weapons locked and glowing. Elias's voice thundered through the void. You hide your power, we take it. You bury your secrets, we dig them out. You guard your weapons, we make them stronger. Because we are human and we will never stop. The alien fleets broke then. Commanders screamed, ships scattered. Some fired blindly into the dark, others fled into warp, but none could stand, none could fight. The fear of humanity had become real, carved into their bones. The Dauntless did not chase them, it did not need to. The message had already been written. In the council chambers, silence reigned. No one spoke, no one moved. They all knew the bomb. Truth. The balance of power had shifted and it would never return. For the first time in ages, the galaxy trembled before a species it once dismissed. On the Dauntless, Morella exhaled slowly, her voice soft. It's over. For now? Elias looked out into the endless stars, his eyes sharp as steel. No, he said, his voice like a blade cutting the silence. This is only the beginning. And as the Dauntless floated in the void, its core pulsing with new fire, every human there knew what the galaxy now feared most. Not the ship, not the weapon, not even the warp, but the truth that no empire could bury. The shadow of humanity would always rise.